Hi, I'm Bert Shore from Landmark Implement in Fairfield, Nebraska.
And I'm Kenny Erickson from Landmark Implement in Minden, Nebraska. And today we're going to talk about maintenance on a 600 series corn head. Today I'm going to be talking about a few of the parts that we use on the corn heads and some of the greases and lubricants. I'll start over here with the chain lube and the multi-purpose lube. You can use either on this corn head. The only thing you really need to worry about lubing on the chain is the auger drive chain. The chain and cable lube is a little bit thicker. It has some graphite in it, but it also has a tendency for dirt sticking to it. So a lot of times we'll run the multi-purpose. Your chains will run cleaner. Dirt won't stick as bad. When you're done for the year, the chain lube will stick onto the chain better to help it last through the winter time. Model year 12 and before, in the gear cases on these corn heads, used a corn head grease. In model year 2012 and after, we'll take an 80-90 lubricant in the gear case. When hooking up to the corn head, it's a good idea to use electric contact cleaner for the electrical and single point hookup. Get all the dirt and grease off of the faces of them so there's no contaminant going into the oil or washing the grease and debris off of the faceplate so it does not wreck the seals inside of the couplers. Looking at maintenance on the corn head, we want to make sure we check our deck plates. One side is an adjustable deck plate, the other is a stationary. What we're looking for is kind of a groove that will start to wear in here. And when the wear starts coming in here, you want to replace them because your cob's pulling down into the deck plate and it's shelling off the cob before it can get into the head. One other thing we have, your back hoods can be, with all the residue and cobs and everything coming on them, they can wear holes in them. We can, instead of replacing the whole hood, which can get expensive, put these hood patches on them. All they do is fit in on the side of the corn head, and they just screw on. Another thing to check on your 600 series corn head after some wear and tear over the years is your stock rolls. What we're looking for on the stock rolls, right in through here, you'll get a lot of wear up the front edge. And if you compare that to the leading edge of a new stock roll, you can see how much they wear down and how fast.
We'll start off with the gathering chains, the adjustment on the gathering chains. So this is the gap between the top, the head of the bolt, and the spacer in here should be 3/16. To do that, it's pretty self-explanatory. You loosen the nut on the bottom and then you adjust that in so that you get that correct gap. Once you make that adjustment, what you want to check also is that front sprocket is able to move, and this portion of it can move in there. A lot of times it'll fill up with dirt and it'll get rusted in there and it won't be able to move. So another thing you want to check before harvest is the adjustment on the deck plates. The proper adjustment with the deck plates completely closed in the front is 18 millimeters and in the rear is 20. So while you're in this area checking over your head, you want to check the oil level in your row unit gear case. And to properly do that, you need to run the machine and warm up the oil. So to get the proper oil level, you want the head raised up, and you want your dipstick screwed all the way in, and then remove it and check the level on the dipstick. It's kind of hard to see, but that does take 80-90 weight. So on the 600 series, your row unit gear case could either have oil or corn head grease in it. So depending on the model, when you're checking, if your head has grease in it and you're checking the level of it, of course you want to warm it up first, and after it's warm, you remove your dipstick, and to check the proper level of the grease, you put the dipstick resting on the threads. You don't screw the dipstick in. To add grease, there's a grease zerk on the bottom of the grease. So another maintenance item that you need to check before the season is the oil level in your case that drives the head. They recommend changing that oil every 200 hours. If you're going to drain the oil, you want to warm up the oil first, and then the plug to drain it is actually on the back side. We can't see that from here, but you take the plug loose, and to get it all out, of course, you'll need to lower the head. So once you get the oil drained, you'll need to get new oil back in. The easiest way to do that I've seen is to take this cover off, and that'll allow you to be the inside of the cover. You can also check your chain adjustment while you're in there. So proper level of this gear case is with the head down and the tips of your snoots touching the ground, which is about a 25-degree angle. It should be to the bottom of this plug. Fill level is right at a quart. Another maintenance item you want to look at before harvest, there is the auger drive chain, which is you can't see because of the cover, but you take that cover off and you can check the adjustment on that chain. So another thing you want to check before you hook up your head is to make sure that everything is clean on your single point hookup. If there's any contamination or dirt in these ports, that will cause a leak later on. Another thing, you want to clean up your electrical connector. Electric contact cleaner is the best choice to clean that. If you use a brake clean, it will damage the plastic inside that. Another item that you might want to check before harvest is we have had some issues with the nuts on the front of the snap and roll coming loose. So you would have to take a shield off to get to them, but it would maybe save some problems if you would just find a wrench and make sure that these are tight. So another item you probably want to check before harvest is your header height sensors. Make sure they move up and down, of course, but the big thing is to make sure there isn't too much wobble back and forth. If they get wore too much, your sensors won't react correctly, and it won't raise or lower your head the way you would expect it. Another adjustment you want to check before you get started is your RowSense. If you have that on your head, you'll want to check the gap between these two wands. It should be 15 millimeters. Another, you might want to check to make sure you don't have a lot of wobble or play in your sensor on the bottom side of your stick. If you have any more questions, please feel free to contact your local